Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Let's talk about vision board or a vision life. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted to take a second to talk about this concept of a vision board. Most of you probably, especially if you're anywhere considering yourself to be an entrepreneur or have gone through those types of exercises and figuring out, your why and what you want from life and all those types of things, somebody somewhere along the line has probably mentioned to you or encouraged you to create this vision board. If you're not familiar with this concept, a vision board at its surface is a great idea. It's a way to stay motivated. It's a way to keep in the forefront of your mind and in your sight things that you're trying to go for. But ultimately, it can be a little materialistic in that sense, because a lot of times people will put up like, oh, this is the house on the beach that I want to buy in Malibu, or this is the exotic car I want to get, or the yacht, or the helicopter, or, kind of all these things that you can cut out of magazines that you see these other, very successful or rich people that they have. And it becomes your vision board. And the intent of it is, like I said, is something that you have visually that you can look at when you're, maybe down in the dumps or you're getting confused about why you're doing what you're doing, especially when the hard times comes and the setbacks come. You can look up at that and go, that is my vision. That is what I'm working for. And certainly other people maybe put, pictures of their family, pictures of family vacations, things that their success can enable them to do. Maybe it's a free time or, a list of books they want to read. There's all kinds of things that can go into a vision board. The intent of it, of course, is to be an encouragement, to be something that you continually strive towards and a reminder of that. And they're all well and good for the most part. They can certainly be taken, as with anything, they can be taken out of context. They can be taken to the extreme or taken as not what is necessarily healthy intent of them. But for the most part, most people, especially, younger and starting out entrepreneurs, use them as a way to just remind them of their why, remind them of what they are striving for, what they're sacrificing for. And also they can be used very effectively of what you're focusing on, like to stop saying yes to everything, to focus on like, this is where I'm going. This is the company I'm building. This is the vision that I have for my company, for my employees, for myself, for my family, for my community. And it helps keep you focused in the sense of, I'm not going to get distracted by these other things and they may be good opportunities. They may be things that happen that could be good, but they are a detraction and a distraction from what your vision is, what you've told yourself and committed to as your vision. But there is a point where vision, especially in the beginning, when you have that little tiny seed of belief, or maybe you're borrowing that confidence and that belief from somebody else that is telling you you can do this, and maybe you're not quite there yet, but where this vision board can be just pure wishing. And that is what I would argue is that critical juncture between going from your vision board to having what I would kind of quote your vision life, like actually achieving that lifestyle, achieving those, and they could be materialistic things. They could be actual, cars or condos or houses or helicopters, yachts, whatever. But you move from like, someday I'm going to get that. I'm going to have that. My life's going to look like that. I'll be able to take a vacation. Be able to spend time with my family, whatever that is. And it moves to, you do have it. You are doing it. You've achieved it. Those are things that you used, in your past that you've worked very diligently towards, and probably, maybe a little bit of luck, but certainly hard work and dedication and sacrifice have gotten you to that vision life that you had previously. But there's a key turning point that switches it from a vision board to a vision life, and that's the difference between wishing, like hoping, because that's what a vision board is. It's hoping. It's an expectation built on hope and desire and wishing. Versus that vision life, you're switching from wishing to actual action. You're now going, okay, this is what I want. What are the things, the actions, the tasks, the relationships, the connections I need to do or make in order to take that picture of that house in Hawaii and make it a reality to where you actually have the income and the resources in order to do it, or your cruise around the world, whatever that looks like for you, or being able to just be at home with your young children. What does that look like for you? And what are the actions that need to take place? And actions doesn't necessarily mean like a to-do list. An action could be, meeting the right people, changing the circle that you run around with, because the circle you might be in currently, nobody there is thinking about what is on your vision board. They just want status quo. They just want that next paycheck. And those actions could be education. It could be a course that you had to take because who you are right now can never take advantage to put yourself in a position to do the things on your vision board or have the things on your vision board. You need to change who you are fundamentally in the sense of increase your knowledge, increase your IQ, increase your skills, whatever that may be for you, that those action steps that you need to take in order to better yourself, to be worthy of the things on your vision board. Because not everybody is worthy of what's on their vision board in their current state. You have the capability, if you change your mindset, you have the capability to go after it, to do the things, meet the people, make the relationships, make the products, sell the service in order to get the things you want, to create the life that you want, to turn it into that vision life instead of that vision board. But there's a difference between moving from being motivated by those things. Like I can look up and see that, beautiful picture out of some travel magazine of a little cottage on the beach in Greece or, in Croatia or, some just French Riviera type of thing, that elusive James Bond movie type of backdrop settings. But you have to move away from using that as your motivation to becoming an actual worker. And not the sense of getting the job and becoming a worker, but the sense of putting in the work on the tasks need to get done. And you may not know initially like the A, B, C, D, E, F, G steps, but you know the direction. And you know the one step here that will move you in that direction. And then that will open up the next step and the next step and the next step. And the next thing you know, you're in the French Riviera, if that is your thing, or you have the time to go to your young son or daughter's softball game or football game or soccer, whatever that is for you and what that looks for you, that vision life that you have. You have time to meet the woman of your dreams, because right now you're working so hard and you come dead tired. Like the thought of going out and actually meeting somebody that you can have a conversation with and date is like, it's an impossibility for you right now. So maybe that's on your vision board. Like, hey, someday I'd like to have a spouse. I'd like to have a solid relationship with somebody that maybe I can get married and start a family with. There are all kinds of things that may be on your vision board, but what are you doing and how are you changing your mindset in the form of your actions? Instead of just being motivated, now you're putting in the work to create your vision life. Because there has to be a separation. There has to be there is a time, just like everything, there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. There has to be a separation between, this is so cool. Oh, wouldn't it be so neat to just be able to sit on the beach and, have somebody bring us daiquiris or all those types of things, those idyllic vacations that we think of and we see in the movies. But we have to move beyond just what that and separate just what that vision is versus what is actually required to get there. An average, transitioning just a slight tad here, average isn't going to cut it. Because there are no average people that own mansions in the French Riviera. There are no average people that live in, massive high-rise condos in Miami with overlooking the ocean. There aren't average people that do that. Average people, take their one vacation a year to Disneyland or Disney World because that's, kind of what they afford. And even that might be a stretch for them. Average people work for their entire life without ever transitioning from like, wouldn't it be nice to have this? Wouldn't it be nice to do this? To what do I need to do in my life, in my job, in my family, in my everything to create that vision board as a reality instead of just a cool little collage that you have up on your bedroom wall or your office wall. And that's what I want to encourage you today is like, one, if you don't have quote unquote a vision board, that is definitely, I would encourage you to do something of that nature. I'm not saying you need to get out the scissors and magazines and cut out pictures of, Lamborghinis or Maybachs or, anything of that nature. But you definitely need to have a reason. You need to have a why. You need to have goals for your life, whether it be financially, personally, family, all those types of things. But secondary to that, or I guess additionally to that, is how do you transition from wouldn't it be nice to be those things to what do I need to do to get those things and make that happen? And that's really where the differentiator between the wishing versus the action, I guess the dreamer versus the doer, right? Which we kind of just talked about. You have to have a dreamer and an executor. And having those in combination is what makes an incredible life. So I wanted to really encourage you, vision board or vision life. Choose one to get you to the other. Don't choose one and stay stuck there. It was never meant to keep you as just a dreaming of, someday, right? Someday never comes when you only think of it as someday. No, like, hey, this next week, I am going to my local Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and I'm going to meet 3 people that are in my industry or that are supplemental to my industry, and I'm going to introduce myself to them with no expectations. Just like I'm starting to get my name, because I know that by networking and increasing my value, especially if you're a small business owner in your community, that's going to expand your influence, expand your potential for increased revenue, all those things, but they're baby steps that you need to do in order to get to that next level, to reach those things and create that vision life for you instead of just a vision board. Does that make sense? I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that gives you a little bit of a challenge and look at your life of like, okay, where have I just been thinking, wouldn't it be nice to be those things versus what am I doing today, this week, next month, this quarter, in order to make those things and move towards those things. Because they should be big goals, not just like, hey, I want to make an extra $100. They should be big goals, because that's what a vision is. It's something big, audacious, and you go after it. Cool? Well, thank you very much. Please make sure you check out kalehouser.com. Let me know if there's something I can help you with. Book a call, shoot me a message, kale@kalehouserleadership.com, and I'd love to talk to you. No matter where you're at in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.